Hi, I'm Sharon Blair, and I'm one of the owners here at Island Family Medicine, and I'm joined with Beth Matthews, who is a registered nurse with our practice, who is also a certified Coolsculpting specialist. And we've been working with Andres Ribot with Ribot Studios for about 4 years now. And when we first started, we basically were at a loss. We were running Facebook ads, not really knowing what we were doing at all. We were promoting an ad here, promoting an ad there. We were screening patients when they came through our practice. We were calling internal contacts. We were basically just doing everything that we could possibly think of to get people through the door, to obviously help pay for our machine. So, and to make money and to be profitable. So I met Andres through a Facebook ad, actually.
That's right.
Thought to myself, well, if this guy found me, because I've clearly been looking at marketing opportunities.
Right. And what was that, 2015 or 2016? Yeah.
2016.
Yeah, exactly. I remember it was like November, December.
It was November, and I had Googled quite a bit, looking for a marketing, someone that could help me with marketing, because the two of us were not cutting it. So I thought, well, if he located me, then he can help me locate potential clients. And so that's kind of where the relationship started. And from there, I would say Beth and I have probably learned a lot about how to not only get people through the door, and the right people through the door. And I'd say that's one of the key factors, is the right people through the door, not just one place. We've also learned how to build our sales skills, in addition to being able to close leads, and increase our profits dramatically. So,
yeah. Can you talk a little bit about, you talked about sort of that frustration part where before you started working with me, like what were the things that you were doing to try to get people in? Like you talked about just sort of like going around and.
Yeah. So, we did all the, bulk emails we would send out, just saying, hey, we're now offering Coolsculpting. Really got nothing from doing that sort of thing. Patient, going around to actual patients that were here on our family medicine side, and kind of gauging whether they had an interest. And that was really not successful as well. I mean, we would get some interest, but no commitment. That was kind of difficult.
Very time consuming.
Very time consuming, especially with only two of us.
And how did you get into Coolsculpting? Like what prompted you to kind of start with it? Or?
So we actually were at a conference or a training for Cabela when we learned about Coolsculpting. So we were actually at a Cabela conference and an aesthetics conference in Nashville, Tennessee. And at the time, they said, well, everybody's not a Cabela candidate. So we've actually brought in somebody else, a vendor, because at the time it was Zeltique and not an Allergan product. And so they brought in a vendor, and we came back and brought it to Dr. Blair, who's our medical director here. And he basically kind of looked at us at first and was like, you guys are crazy. Like, I don't know if this is a good idea. And we were like, well, just hear us out. He did. So we were like, just hear us out. We really think this would be great for our practice. And he was like, he tossed it around for about a week, and I contacted our local rep here, because obviously that was an out-of-state rep. And they brought a presentation in, and he was pretty much as intrigued as we were after meeting with the company and learning about the actual scientific side of it and why it worked and how it worked and that sort of thing. And he basically said, if you guys want to go for it, I'll support you. And so that's how our journey started. But then again, it was up to us to make it happen. He was not, although he was supportive, he was not like the one walking in patients' rooms going, hey, we have this new great product to help eliminate and reduce fat. I want you to talk to my girls today. I think you'd be a great candidate. Although that probably would have been somewhat helpful initially, because anything coming from the provider sometimes goes a little bit farther than, us kind of doing the door-to-door type thing. But
Sure.
yes, so again, we were kind of back to square one. It was us trying to figure out another creative way to interact with more people. And that just, it got old really, really.
Yeah. And if I can remember correctly, what I think you may have clicked on was like a blog post. Like a long.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but I know
Yeah.
it was like a sponsored ad that you had out there that was basically, and then I clicked, and then I didn't click again, and then you retargeted me because you,
Right.
like, hey, you clicked on my
Right.
and so I was super impressed by that, and it was really late one night, and I was literally just sitting at home, and I was like, just going through Facebook and going, what am I gonna do? Like, I don't know how I'm gonna get more people through the door. We live in a pretty rural, small area, and I was just like, we have such a limited number of what I thought was prospects at the time, but since working,
Sure.
I've obviously, I sometimes think, wow, this area is not nearly as small as I think it is, because we constantly get new people through the door and we get new leads every day. And it's like, where did these people come from? Like, these are
Right.
people that I ever thought were really prospects or people or candidates or client or people that would turn into clients, that sort of thing. So that from that standpoint, I'm still mind blown at 4 years later that it's like, where does he keep finding new people?
Right.
How does he keep getting people? I feel like at this point, if it had been up to me, I would have talked to everybody that was possibly a candidate or a client.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, and that's definitely something we do.
yeah, going back to other things that we did, like I said, we were trying to promote our own Facebook posts and kind of, in addition to creating that content, which I am not an expert in at all. And it was just, I had come from a sales background, so I thought I had it all figured out. And I thought I knew like the best way to, make point of contact with all of these people. And it just, it wasn't working. It was a lot of wasted money and a lot of wasted time, honestly on my part, to try to get these people through the door, and not just get people through the door, but actually close a sale. It was just a very difficult process. But
Sure. Yeah, I mean, that's just half of the battle is, I mean, a lot of people complain about like, hey, I just need to get people in the door. And then once that problem gets solved, it's like, all right, now I can't close anybody, or I'm having trouble closing people. So,
well, and I think that's another thing that you brought to the table as well. Like, even after initially starting to work with you, it was kind of like, great, I got lead after lead after lead. Let's just get them in. Let's get them in. And I think you've actually helped us realize that, it's not about getting every single person through the door that clicks on an ad. It's about qualifying those leads. And you've helped us do that through application process, as well as, sales message with direct text messaging, a way to really connect with these prospects to determine if they're really good clients. Because poor Beth was doing consult after consult after consult, and it was like, oh my gosh, I could spend all day doing 25 consults, and everybody's, or not everybody, but a large percentage wouldn't even be a good candidate, and not just from a financial standpoint, but maybe from a physique or a standpoint, or whatever the case may be. And so it was, you've really helped us not just bring people through the door, but it's a more qualified lead where we're not just spinning our wheels, consulting all day and not closing sales. And,
So do you feel like you have a more predictable system? I mean, this is a question I ask people is like, how long are you going to, run your business without having this sort of predictable system that gets people, reaching out?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I totally trust now that there is, I don't fret about, are we going to have leads? I don't fret about, are we going to have qualified leads? I don't fret about, okay, what are we going to do next month, or what are we going to do the month after that? I mean, I feel like with the systems that you've helped us put into place and the technology that we have to implement, contacting clients, it just alleviates that like stressor for me as a business owner. And I feel like when clients are going in and meeting with Beth for consultations, I mean, of course, we're not at 100%, accuracy, but I feel like at least what's going in and taking her time up is qualified. There's a high probability that we're going to close this sale. And I definitely feel like the systems that have been put in place have helped orchestrate all of that. So
Yeah, and you're kind of in a really unique position because we've been working together for so long, 4 years. The systems that existed 4 years ago are very different than what have sort of come about now, and really the metamorphosis or process of building those systems, like I don't think we started doing text messaging back then.
Oh, no, not at all. I mean, it's totally transitioned. And I think that's one of the really good things that has helped our practice be very successful, even to some of our local competitors, if you want to call them that. I don't really consider myself competing with anybody. We do what we do, and we try to do it to the best of our ability, but we've had to morph into what worked. I'd say 4 years ago, email was a lot more responsive in reaching people.
Yeah.
Whereas I'd say the last 12 months, it's become text messaging. I think people are so overwhelmed with or inundated with email in their inbox that, and I think about the way that I like to personally communicate and the way our clients tell us they want to communicate.
Sure.
It's absolutely, and that's been an advantage that I would have never had, without working with you in like implementing what's working today. And what might be working today might not be what's working in 12 more months from now. I mean, it's constantly evolving, and I feel like you're on the cutting edge of helping us figure out exactly like what's working and what's not working. And like the constant communication that I'm able to have with you, it's really beneficial to me, because I don't feel like I'm sitting here constantly pondering, well, I just don't think this is working. Like if I have 2 or 3 things in a row, it's nice to be able to text you or pick up the phone and say, hey, like this is kind of the response I'm getting. Is this a trend you're seeing with some of your other practices? Is this just a fluke? And you're able to help walk me through and talk through like, okay, well, let's try this, or let's modify that, or
Right.
let's scratch this whole idea altogether and start over because this isn't working. And so, I mean, that's something that I would never have time to do. Like I said, with 2 of us kind of basically running our full Coolsculpting business, we're stretched pretty thin in that.
Sure. Yeah, and I think we try to solve the problems as they come and not try to solve problems that don't exist.
Don't
right?
exist. Yeah.
It's like,
we say that a
you
lot.
can't solve a problem if that's not the problem that exists. It's like we got to solve as it comes and like what the trend is. And but you mentioned something that using text messaging a lot, and for people who are watching this and considering working with me, would you say that you kind of book you communicate with the majority of your prospects over text messaging, and is that really sort of the main method of communication that you use?
Yeah, I would say probably 95% of how we book everything is via text messaging. And like I said, completely changed from how it was 12, 18 months ago. We still have a small population that likes the telephone, and that's okay because it's been made simple for them. They can still click right from the text message and call our office and get somebody that, if they're more comfortable with that line of communication. In addition to like pictures that you've posted in the text messaging, videos that have been sent, like all of that stuff helps to really put clients at ease, but it also gives like the more information that we can get to them.
Right.
And, the more they know coming in the door, they're a little more prepared to make a decision when they're here. It makes our jobs a lot easier too in what we're doing with us, clients once they come, once they get here.
Yeah, and one of those new systems we set up was like after they have the consultation,
Oh yeah.
a set of systems or a bunch of videos that we had you shoot to include in some text messaging to follow up after a consultation or after they get treated to remind them, hey, come back for those before and
Yeah, and
after.
we did that with Beth. We let Beth shoot the videos because she's kind of the one that's in the room with them most of the time. She's built that relationship with them during the day. And we've just found that, keeping that ongoing relationship with clients, not just after they leave from their treatment, but continuing to see that same face and the familiarity, it, helps with retention to keep people coming back, because I dare say most of our clients, if they've had one area treated, they want to come back and have something else treated because they're really satisfied with their results. And, but the key is getting them back in for those pictures and letting them see, the difference. So
Yeah. And I think that's
that automation has helped us tremendously, because it was next to impossible for us to, especially during certain times of the year when it's extremely busy, that automation is
remember to
to do it, because even though we had it on the calendar, sometimes it just didn't happen because
right.
we were busy. And I mean, we have lives too. I mean, but it's kind of like,
well, that's a neat
called Miss
system that we set up.
So-and-so yesterday, and then you don't, and then it's like, well, I'll do it later, and it just never happens. So
right.
automation is critical to, the follow-up and the consistency of doing it with every single patient. So
Yeah. And I think we have it like set up like maybe the day after treatment and then like 30 days later.
Day 45 and day 90.
Right.
Yep.
That's
so,
a real neat.
And then we also do the same thing with our consults. If we really feel like a consult went well and we felt like, A, they were a really good candidate, but B, they just, maybe they do need, to talk it over with their spouse. I mean, that's not like a response we really want, but there is a certain percentage of people that, they're just not going to make a commitment right then and there. We also have automation set up for a 1-day post, a 5-day post, and I think it's 7 or 10-day post. I can't remember exactly, but, and that's also helped to kind of close that, deal in terms of, would we have remembered to call them tomorrow? Yeah, they're on our radar, but just the inconsistency of how often we kind of reconnect with those individuals has helped as well. So,
sure. So can you talk a little bit about some of the transformations that have happened? I know that you have a new location. Your business was a little closer towards the beach, and then you open up a new place.
Yeah, so we moved last year, or about a year and a half ago now. Gosh, time flies. But we have moved,
and it's beautiful. I mean,
oh, thank you. And we have a much larger Coolsculpting suite as well, and we're really proud of that. And it's really nice. We're now able to offer like a private bath with a shower for clients once they're done with their treatment. They really like that. They feel, a little pampered. They have their own waiting area, so when they come in, they're not sitting with our family medicine population that could potentially be sick, or for whatever reason, they're treated just like they're the only client for the day, sort of thing. So they have their own private waiting area, they have their own private bathroom with a shower. Then we actually have our Coolsculpting suite that we offer, like TV with Netflix, or whatever type of music, if they prefer to listen to music or whatever. I mean, it's really a comfortable environment for patients. They tend to like it. They get snacks throughout the day if they want them. So, we're really happy with, do what?
Or catered lunch.
Yeah, or catered lunches, depending on how large of a treatment package it might be. So, every client is a little bit differently, is treated a little differently, just based on kind of their needs and what's important to them. And that's something that Beth tries to identify during the consultation too. Once we have identified like what that they're going to purchase a package or that sort of thing, we just try to find out like what's important to them, what they really want to get out of this experience more than anything, other than just eliminating fat or reducing fat.
So what was it that made you decide to to move from one location to the other? Was it that you needed more
Growth.
to provide a better experience for those aesthetic patients, or you just had the funds to sort of like?
I'd say a combination of things. So we were. So
and you didn't buy it. You didn't buy. You actually they like built. They
yeah, we built our
ground up.
practice, and it's a multitude of things. So the biggest was growth. We had really just grown out of where we were, due to what I think we do best, which is taking care of our people, and that's kind of what prompted that. And then space. I mean, we just needed a space. We wanted a more lively environment. We wanted, people to, if they're coming here and they're spending money with us, then we want them to feel like they're, in a very nice location, that they picked wisely, that they've made a good decision. So yeah, I mean, it was just kind of a combination of things, but we're happy.
And so any other transformations? I know you sort of, we had been talking about raising prices.
Oh yeah, I was getting ready to say. So kind of the last, I guess, big transformation for Beth and I is price for sure. So,
a lot of people think, I want to stay at this price. This is what people can afford.
That's
a lot
been
about
a challenge. Yeah, that's been a challenge for us. So I think for Beth and I, we were trained by Coolsculpting. They come out with these fancy laminated cards, and it's like, okay, you're going to do this, and it's going to be this much. And if you don't feel like you can get this, well, then you can kind of do whatever you want with your price, as long as you're not, broadcasting that to the world, this sort of thing. And so that was the old school mindset of how we were trained to sell Coolsculpting. And since working with you, I mean, you kind of pushed us out of our comfort zone, so to speak. Say, hey, are you going to keep doing the same things you've been doing since 2016? Because if you are, you're probably not going to be in business very long, because you're still paying the same price for X that you were paying in 2016. And I'm like, well, no, I'm not. So why would you be charging the same price for Coolsculpting in 2020 that you were charging in 2016? And our initial response, Beth, what was our initial response? Pay that, right? So
something is better than nothing.
Yeah, so we had this something is better than nothing mentality.
And what you can get, exactly, yep.
And we had this, people in our area won't pay that because we're in North Carolina and it's a very rural area, and that's just not gonna fly here.
That wasn't true.
And that's actually okay. So the next challenge we got was Andres saying, well, prove that to me. And I'll believe you. He says, but you have nothing to go on to prove that to me. So we kind of like stared at each other. And
I prove me wrong. I mean,
yeah, he said, prove me wrong. And we were both like,
a challenge accepted.
Yeah.
We lost.
We lost. And we're not good at losing. So
no, we're not good at that at all. No.
So it was kind of like, well, all right, we're going to give it a go. And literally after we had this conference call one day, the very next morning, we were like, all right, this is our first consult. Here we go. Beth said, I told myself all the way to work, all right, working with 4 clients is better than working with 10 clients. If I get the same thing out of 4 that I can get from 10, I'm going with the 4. And so she gave herself a little pep talk. And sure enough, we basically increased our per cycle price by $150 per cycle. And it was honestly due to you basically giving us that challenge and saying, prove us wrong or prove wrong. And, it's basically, a situation where it was our own mental block that was keeping us from advancing. And, we've had the same conversation about other services that we offer, not just Coolsculpting, but injectables, anything that we do aesthetically in this practice, which I must say, we've even carried over into our family medicine side. I started really evaluating like how we do business even on that side. And I said to Dr. Blair, I said, Andreas made this point that, are you still going to do business at the same price in 2020 that you were doing it in 2016? I said, we're doing the same thing on the other side of our business. And he was like, good point. Like we need
Food
to,
supplies, everything.
we need to like reassess how we're doing business as a whole. So it's not just, yes, we work on the aesthetic side of things together, but it's actually trickled over into the other side of our business and helped us to like really reevaluate and kind of, you know, with insurance, sometimes you're limited, but on those areas where we don't have those limitations, we really had to reassess and kind of back up and punt and go, wait, like, what are we doing here? So
Sure.
that standpoint, that's definitely a transition that has occurred the first quarter of this year that's been instrumental on all aspects of our practice. So
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, it's amazing to see you guys grow and have the new facility, which, you know, again, was built from the ground up, and you know, the experience there must be phenomenal for your patients and prospects. So, you know, someone just coming in who has never heard of you, you know, from a Facebook ad, you know, they come in and the experience there, you know, you really have, you know, provided it for them. So it's really awesome. So yeah, I guess the last question I would say is, you know, what's life like now, and what would you say to someone who is, you know, potentially considering, you know, working with me?
I would say do it, go for it. You should have done it yesterday, because I'm telling you, it was a game changer for me. It was, I honestly, like, sleepless nights, worry, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'll even be honest and say that when we first started talking about price with you, I was like, how am I ever gonna pay for that? Like I was even worried about adding another expense. It wasn't that I didn't believe that you could do it or that you weren't going to help me. But for me, it was like, oh, another bill. Can I really, like, take on more financial responsibility? And, you know, I'd say within the first month, you proved to me that that was like a worry I didn't really need to have. It was an unnecessary worry. Like it was, if I did what you told me to do and I followed the steps that you had provided for me and not try to do it my way, then it would, you know, it would take care of itself. And you initially on our first call, you kind of calculated that out with me. You're like, all right, this is my price. This is what you have to do. And this is, you told me what your goals are. So, you know, incorporating all that together, this is where you have to be. And so, like I said, I think for some people, or especially for me, and I don't know that I'm any different than a lot of other business owners, initially it's just like, oh, one more expense. I don't know, but I can feel like it was totally worth it to us to take that leap, because it was, like I said, within the first 30 days, we knew. I mean, I think we didn't even have a great website when we started with you. And that day you like produced like this mock website, and Dr. Blair said, I love this guy, like, where's he at? Can he do this for me, like, today? And you were like, I can make it happen. So I mean, from that standpoint, I mean, you know, service was, you know, exceptional, and it has been ever since. Like, I don't think there's been a month that you and I haven't talked, numerous times within a month since we started working together. And, you know, you've helped us in, you know, tremendous ways, from revenue growth to, like I said, just reducing stress, providing those leads, qualified leads.
Reinforcement that we can do it and believe in ourselves.
Yeah, that's a big thing. I mean, we talk about transformation. Yeah, that's probably, I'd say,
That's a huge one for me.
Yeah, a big one for us, because, you know, like, we don't have a cheerleading squad sometimes. And so it's nice to have you who's sitting on the other side going, you know, if you don't believe it, then you're not going to do it. So, you know, like Beth said, believing in ourselves is huge when you don't have, you know, it's us.
Yeah.
And sometimes when I get bogged down, then it's kind of like, she's like, yeah, you're right, that's not going to work. And then it's good to have that third party go, get out of your head, like, quit yourself down. So
I think for me too, Andres, it's nice to have somebody that makes you see things in a different light. When you know, you've done something for so long, or it's repetitive, and you're like, well, what about let's look at it from this angle. So it's very refreshing, but also it kind of gives you a kind of food for thought. And when you do that and it pans out, you're like, that's
I got
fantastic.
it clicked.
Yeah, it's like clicks, within your head and your soul, and you're like, yes, this is it, So it's nice to have kind of that third person to believe in you and kind of help you to believe in yourself as well. So that's fantastic.
Especially when you get, lead after lead or prospect in, and it's like, oh, I didn't close that one. Oh, I didn't close that one. And that's the norm, but it does happen. It just seems like there's kind of cycles where you go through, and it's like spaghetti on a wall. Nothing sticks, and it's like, why is nothing sticking? And then you just kind of go, well, what's working and what's not, and what's the problem? Let's, like you said initially when we first got on this call, like what's working? Let's deal with the problems that are here, not the ones that don't exist. And so I think that's been huge for us. So yeah.
Thanks. Well, I'm really passionate about you guys working with all my clients and getting them results and getting them transformations. And I think, when I work with people, I want to work with people who have that about their clients. And that I see that in you guys, like you really believe in what you're doing and you're really passionate about getting results for people and changing people's lives. And, the same thing over here. So yeah, I'm getting a little choked up. It's been 4 years. So I'm like,
no, that's wild. It's hard to believe.
It's hard to, it's like Facebook 2015, 2016.
I know.
Kind of the wild west of things. So.
Well, and I didn't even know anything about the Facebook world. And in addition to that, we were promoting an ad here and there, but Facebook's even changed so much in the last 4 years. It's almost a full-time job for somebody to keep up with all the new changes of Facebook. So I can't imagine not having somebody that knows the ins and outs of it like you do to help orchestrate that. Cause I would be lost. Some days I get on now and I'm like, what is this? I've never even seen this before. It's constantly changing, even from a personal use standpoint. So I can't imagine, from the business side of things, it would have been very challenging for us to
do it yourself or
it wouldn't have been possible. It would absolutely not have been possible. And I probably would have been wasting more money on things like a billboard and things that do absolutely nothing for our business at the end of the day when it comes to where we draw prospects from.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, thanks for joining me today, guys. I really
You're welcome. Thank you.
Appreciate it. And here's to another 4 years.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys.
See you later. Bye.